including A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. Films such as The Birdcage, his newest film is called Mouse Hunt. I'm sure you've seen the ads. It opens in theaters this Friday. Happy holidays and welcome to Nathan Lane. I mentioned the last time we were together, why did I hit you? I think you were making me laugh and I was trying to get to a commercial or something stupid like that.
Yeah. I was making you laugh and you struck me. You reached out and said, stop that. And I fell on the floor and my partner stood up and screamed, lawsuit. Yeah. And you kept laughing, and it was,
And shortly thereafter, I left NBC. It disappeared.
I think it was directly related to that incident.
Now, you were with a guy named Stack, as I recall. Stack and Lane?
Patrick Stack, wonderful guy. He was an actor that I had worked with in a show, and then we put together a comedy team and came to L.A. and opened for rock acts.
Oh, really?
And you know, when you're starting out, you open for... If a rock star or someone is performing and they have to fill the first half hour.
That's right.
So they would bring on a comic, but they wouldn't introduce, have you any billing.
Well, because the audiences who come to see the rock stars, they don't want to be bothered with comedy or patter. First of all, they've enhanced their mental attitude before they come in there,
I think they've timed their drugs for, the Eddie Rabbit we opened for in Petaluma, which is the home of the wrist wrestling championships, which will give you an idea
Petaluma well.
of the culture of Petaluma. And I remember we were standing backstage, and it was a sea of cowboy hats, and the guy said, and now the comedy stylings of Stack and Lane. And they kind of went crazy, and they started chanting, Eddie, Eddie, Eddie. And I'm thinking, how many silo jokes do I know? And finally, we started our act, which was sketch material, and we take you now to a bar somewhere in Manhattan. And they go, Eddie, Eddie. So finally, the local DJ, who was the host, came out and said, listen, these guys came all the way from New York City to entertain you. Now shut up and listen, which is really conducive.
Oh, a crowd gets that. Yeah. That motivates the crowd instantly. Yeah.
And then they were very well behaved. And, that was, things like that happen all the time.
Now, tonight you're here alone. Whatever happened to Stack?
He's on a work program, I think. He actually lives in Chicago, and he's doing very well. He's married, has a couple of kids, and he's been in advertising, and now he's...
So that after you and he split, then you went solo, did you, as a comic?
Well, I was living out here, and I came back to New York, actually, to do a television series with Mickey Rooney back in 1981 called One of the Boys. For those of you who are keeping score.
I remember that because Scatman Crothers was on that show. Dana Carvey was on that show, as I recall. A very funny cast. And the one, the only, Mickey Rooney.
Mickey Rooney. He's adorable. He's larger than life.
He's nuts. And if
now
he's
you
watching,
said it.
I mean that in the best sense of the term. I mean, he's Mickey Rooney.
I think he'd be the first one to tell you, I'm nuts.
Yeah. I mean, in the good sense of the word. He's an eccentric guy, but he's full of energy, and he's full of life and all that stuff.
He's adorable. And yeah, it was a bad show, a really mediocre sitcom about...
Which is hard to imagine with Chris Scatman and Dana Carvey and you.
Yeah, it just didn't, it was one of those, Mickey also thought, he was doing Sugar Babies at the time and thought, maybe I'll squeeze in a sitcom during the day. It was sort of like a little day job. And it was about, Dana Carvey played his grandson who rescued him from a rest home and brought him to live with him in his off-campus apartment. He was going to college. He was a freshman in college, and I played his roommate.
What a premise.
Huh? Already, you're asleep.
Oh.
You're almost
I want to see all 13 episodes.
and I played the roommate. I had lines like, is that your grandfather? Is he standing in a hole? Thanks, good night. You've been a wonderful crowd. And 13 episodes of that. This week, Gramps goes on a diet. That's what it would say in TV Guide. Never do a series where the lead is called Gramps. That was my first...
Well, what was Mickey like doing the show? Because in reading about him and talking with him, he's always had trouble memorizing lines. He's not had a facility to give line cues.
I think he can probably learn lines very quickly. I just think he's so facile, and I think he thinks if he looks at it once or twice, he knows it. And sometimes he does, and sometimes he doesn't. And he also likes to improvise. So yeah, there would be times when he and Scatman would get together, and Scatman would have been in the bathroom smoking, and and he would come out, and Mickey, and they would be like something, Samuel Beckett. They would just sort of stare at each other and wait for someone to say something. But it was, I remember this one time there was an episode where Gramps went to jail, I can't remember why, and I don't even want to know why. But he was in a little jail cell, and he would always talk to the audience when they would stop taping, and joke and make, and talk about, I've been married so many times, I've got rice marks on my face, or whatever it might be. And then he finally, like this one day, he ran out of things to say, which is very unusual.
For Mickey Rooney, that's very tough.
And he put his head down, and it got very quiet, and then he lifted his head and he said, "If these spirits have offended, think but this, and all is mended, that you have but slumbered here a while." And he did the whole last speech from Midsummer Night's Dream, which he did when he was a child.
12,
yeah. And he's incredible in that film. And then at the end, the audience burst into applause. And that's sort of my favorite memory of him, and thinking...
And he was beaming on stage as they applauded.
Yeah, and this man who's been, through everything in show business. And I thought, well, it was really a treat to be able to work with someone like that.
Now, you moved to L.A. in '80, and then you went back to New York to do this show about a year and a half later.
Right.
And you've not come back to Los Angeles since, to live.
To live? No. No, I've come back to work many times.
I understand that, but you're a New Yorker, huh?
I am. Yeah, I love the city.
I was talking with someone today who had been to New York. She and her daughter and her grandson went to New York just for a quickie Christmas season trip because the little boy was 4 years old. She said New York is spotless, the streets are clean, there are no cigarette butts in the street, the city is bristling and bustling.
You sure it was New York?
That's what she said. She said New York was absolutely splendid.
It does, during especially the Christmas season, it's the best time to be there, fall and then into Christmas. And it does take on a special hygiene, maybe, at that time, and all the decorations are up.
I've read that this guy, Mayor Giuliani, has really cleaned up the act back there, that you don't got to have the squeegee guys coming off the highways anymore and all these little irritants that made a lot of people...
He's a tough little guy. He was pretty funny on Saturday Night Live,
Yes, he was. Oh, by the way, you were funny on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, gosh, go on. Stop.
Did you like doing that?
I did. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. It was, yeah, because you start off in the beginning of the week and there's no show, and then at the end you have something. And
sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes, not always, but that's sort of the thrill of it too, is like you don't know what's going to happen. And I have my respect for everybody there increased tenfold after doing it. They were great. It was great fun.
Now, this film that you're doing, do we see you in this film, or is it just your voice?
Oh, no, I'm...
No, because remember you did The Lion.
I did do The Lion King, yes. No, I'm actually appearing in this film, although I just have a small supporting role. The mouse is really the star of this film. And, in fact, there were 65 mice that were bred and trained, just to be in this movie.
Really?
They were, yeah. Why do I feel like I'm having a tax audit? You're looking at me like you don't believe me. The 65 mice, yeah, and it was like Lassie, one was good at jumping, one was good at sitting.
Yeah, right.
There was the emotional mouse for the dramatic scenes, and then there was the De Niro mouse who just gained 50 pounds and wouldn't come out of his trailer.
I'm sorry I stepped on that.
It's okay. I used to be part of a comedy team.
And we only see one mouse at a time, or all 65? No, we just see
just one. But he's played by 65, many mice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a very nice life for the mice.
Did you
because they could be in a lab somewhere being tested. Instead, they were, in a trailer with catering.
They could be in a snake trainer's house being fed.
Well, I didn't want to go that far, but yeah, you're right. And so, yeah, you would walk by the trailer. You could hear them all chanting, "Per diem, per diem." They were very happy. And highly trainable. Yeah, that's what I found.
A guy told me once he had a pet snake, and they would feed the snake mice, but the snake would only eat mice after they had expired. So his wife, they went to wherever you buy mice, the mouse store. And they came home and they had all
the mouse store.
Well, where do you buy? I guess
Rodents are us.
Petco.
Yeah,
you go to Petco, and they brought the mice home. I know I'm over time here, but they bring them home in these Chinese food containers.
Oh, that's it's takeout for snakes.
Yeah. And she said, well, how do we make the mice not alive anymore? How do we kill the mice?
Now you sound like you're in the Valachi papers.
Yeah.
How do we make the mice not alive anymore?
How do we kill the mice? And so they took the half a dozen little Chinese food cartons, each of which contained a mouse, and they put them in the freezer. And when you heard the scratching on the carton stop, you knew that it was time to take the mice out.
Tom, how am I going to sleep tonight? Why are you telling me these things?
So you'll hit me back. We're with Nathan Lane. The picture is called Mouse Hunt. You see, there are 65 mice, and they all through it. The toll-free is up and running at 800-952-2788. Back after this break.
Huge rats, the size of sumo wrestlers, and lots of them. So we really need a ferocious feline, preferably with a history of mental illness. I'm talking one mean pussy.
Yeah, a vicious cat. Difficult to love. Do you have any of those knocking around your cages?
Funny you should ask. I had all but given up on anyone wanting him. We were about to gas him again.
Again?
See, now, when you come in the middle, we don't know why he's got that suit on.
Yeah. Well, he was an astronaut, but he really let himself go.
Oh.
No, that's my good friend Ernie Sabella, who works at the Pound.
Oh, I got you.
We've gone to the Pound to get a cat.
A ferocious kitty.
A ferocious kitty.
Yeah, a mean pussy.
Thank you very much.
As you said there in the film.
A mean pussy.
Yeah, as you said in the film.
It's a family film. It's a family film. Yeah. By the way, you want to see Titanic? I saw Titanic last night. It was fantastic. Even though it's opening the same weekend as Mouse Hunt, it's really a wonderful movie. They'll love me for saying this, for plugging Titanic. It's great.
Yeah. It'll be your last film for SKG DreamWorks.
Yeah, that's right.
They're saying bye-bye to
It goes by in a flash. You know, it's 3 hours and 15 minutes, but it goes by very quickly.
They're saying he loves it.
It would have been longer, but they cut the slave rebellion. You know. Titanic and Boogie Nights, the two biggest things in movies these days. Hey, stop! Will you stop? But Titanic is really wonderful. And, you know, and so see that and Mouse Hunt. And I think you'll have a full entertainment weekend.
True. Here is Matt on the toll-free in Brooklyn, New York. Hi, Matt, you're on the air.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay, thanks.
Good. Mr. Lane, I wanted to know, I hear so often that comedic actors have a dark side, and I wanted to know what your dark side is.
My dark side?
As if, Matt, he's going to blurt it out here on national television. Huh?
Well, what drives you?
What drives me?
Right.
Well, actually, I don't drive. I still haven't gotten a license. Stop. My dark side. Well, I try to work those things out in therapy.
Do you have a dark side? I mean,
well,
and I'm not going to ask you to reveal it, but yeah, some things maybe depress you, get you down.
Well, sure. I think I'm Irish Catholic, so I think I do. I've had a troubled past, but you know, as you get older, you try to.
You went to a Catholic prep school back there in Jersey City, St. Peter's.
St. Peter's Prep. How did you know that?
Because I know these things.
Wow.
I stay up very late at night, paying attention to things.
St. Peter's Prep, yes, in Jersey City.
And who taught you there? The nuns or the priests?
The priests, you know.
Which order?
The Jesuits.
Ah, very good. I had them too.
Fun-loving group.
Builders of men.
Builders of men.
Yes, sir.
That's right. And then
Did you write on the corner of your paper AMDG on one corner and beat Ad Majorem Dei Gloriam, to the greater honor and glory of God?
Wow.
On every piece of paper we handed in.
I probably did. I just.
Well, if we didn't, we got an F on the paper, so we put it up there.
I blocked it out. I just remember the nuns were the tough ones. I had the Dominican nuns.
They're very tough as well.
In grammar school. I remember the Baltimore Catechism.
Yep.
When you had to memorize who is God, why did God make you?
To know, love, and serve him in this world and in the next.
See? It's all based on fear.
It takes.
I remember I had this nun. She was like a drill sergeant. She would walk up and down, Sister Eva Braun, and she would walk up and down the aisles, and she would suddenly turn on you and say, "Who is God?" And I would say, "I don't know. I'm 7 years old. I just got here." Yeah, that can screw you up a little.
Hey, Matt, he doesn't have a dark side.
I'm just a fun-loving guy. I'm a plush toy.
Oh, sure. I believe that.
Have you seen Mr. Lane on stage in New York, Matt?
No, actually, I bought my parents' tickets. I couldn't afford it myself.
I see. And did your parents like the show?
Oh, they loved it.
Did they come home and say, "Yeah, but I'll bet he's got a dark side"?
No, they didn't.
Well, I think, you know, a lot of comedy does come from anger,
of course
certainly.
It does.
I think, you know...
Hey, as George Carlin said, laugh, I thought I'd die. Huh? How close those things are.
Well, absolutely.
I just thought maybe the most successful people have
conflicts
that they're possibly trying to work out, and that's why they become so successful.
Yeah.
Do you find that?
No, I just got a mother in Jersey to support. Conflicts. No, I'm not trying to work out any
You see, Matt,
conflict.
some people have them. Now, like Mr. Lane doesn't have them, but I am forever in search of trying to open the cereal box properly, and so far in 61 years, I have not succeeded, okay?
Okay.
I'm glad you called, Matt. You have a happy Christmas and a
You
good
too.
holiday, okay?
Thanks.
Goodbye now.
Goodbye.
George C. Scott played a big
You have a
part.
couch. I just want to lie down now.
Why?
Well, I want to discuss my conflicts. I feel I'm not conflicted enough.
Go ahead.
No, it's all right.
You want to open that little can of worms? It's certainly be my pleasure to find out, you know, what makes your little brain go.
No, my brain doesn't make a sound like that. Go ahead, Tom. I'm sorry.
I'd like to know about the part that George C. Scott played in your life. You were at Circle in the Square when he played there, I believe in the early 80s, 81, 82, in the Noel Coward show, Present Laughter.
Right.
In which he was wonderful. And you worked with him on that show?
I did. It was my my first Broadway show, my big break in the theater, and he was wonderful to me. He was like a father. But he's an intimidating figure.
Yes, he is.
And he was an idol of mine in the world of acting. And so I remember the first few weeks of rehearsal of that show. He was calling me Norman. He would say, "Norman, I'd like you to move over here. And Norman, do try this, and Norman, and he's so intimidating, I actually thought of legally changing my name to Norman.
To Norman, right.
So I wouldn't have to tell him, and then finally I said, George, the cast was giggling at this point, so I said, I have to tell you, my name is Nathan, not Norman, and I said, and by the way, I loved you in MacArthur. And he slapped me.
See, now, if I was going to say, he would give you
He slapped me, and we've been friends ever since. Yeah.
Did you ever see him lose his temper?
I remember that we had a dress rehearsal where it had gone very smoothly, rehearsals for this play. I don't know, we would rehearse.
And they say usually the better the rehearsals, the worse the opening night.
That's right.
And vice versa.
But everything was going very well. But we had one dress rehearsal where things were a little rough. And I remember they had rented this very expensive table, a glass table. It was like this Art Deco set, and
I remember it well. The inner living room of this guy's mansion.
Right, and they said to everybody, please be very careful when the lights go out to watch your step. And of course the lights went out, and you heard this crash, and you heard him say, ah, and the lights came up, and he was standing there with this table in pieces, and he said, sorry, and then he went off. And then so at the end of this rehearsal that didn't go so well, I remember we all came out. We were all supposed to sit in the theater, and he was going to give notes. So we came out, and he was sitting on stage at a desk on stage like this, just sitting there like this. And we were a group of adults just sort of slowly sat in their chairs, and he looked up, and he said, now we're all going to have to concentrate. And I thought, yeah, we really are. and I said that was the only time where I was ever, like, frightened. He was, otherwise, he was a big pussycat.
Well, wasn't there a party, wasn't he in Plaza Suite?
Yes.
And I heard once that there was a party, I don't know if you were there or not, at the Plaza Hotel afterwards.
Where things went flying through windows?
Yeah, was he married to Colleen Dewhurst at the time, or was it Tricia?
Yes, he was. Yeah, I think, that he's had a stormy past, and, but, when I worked with him, I didn't see that side of him. He was always, I do remember that we did a play together called On Borrowed Time many years later, and in which he played lovable old Gramps. Trouble.
There's that word again, Gramps.
Gramps.
Yep.
Stay away from Gramps.
Yep.
And I played, I was this symbolic figure of death, the angel of death, Mr. Brink. And it had been traditionally played by these British character actors, Cedric Hardwicke and Leo G. Carroll, Nathan Lane. What's wrong with this picture? And he traps death in a tree. And I remember at the first preview, I was holding on to the tree, and she was shaking, and it was the end of the act, and there's thunder and lightning, and I fell out of the tree. And it was kind of shocking and sort of embarrassing, too, because I fell out of a tree. Yeah. And he found me behind the tree and helped me off stage, and I was a bit in shock, and they asked for a doctor if there was a doctor in the house.
Right. Would you please come backstage?
Yes. And George was very concerned, and then there was a knock at the door, and this man sheepishly came to the door, and George said, "Are you the doctor?" And he said, "Well, yes." He said, "Actually, I'm a psychiatrist." And he said, "He doesn't want to talk about his childhood. He just fell out of a tree." I ran down the hallway, and I said, actually, there are a few things. I have a couple of conflicts I would like to discuss. Because, you know, I have demons.
He doesn't want to talk about his childhood. He just fell out of a tree. That's our George. Huh?
That's our George.
Simple, direct, to the point. Back with Nathan Lane, who'll be starring in Mouse Hunt, which opens in theaters this weekend all across America. And you on the toll-free as time permits after these messages. And here's Karen on the toll-free in Middletown, New Jersey. Hi, Karen, and welcome to CBS Late Night.
Hi, Tom.
Hi.
Love your show.
Thank you, ma'am.
Nathan, I loved you in Forum, and I loved you in Birdcage.
Thank you.
My question is, what kind of jobs did you have when you left school?
When I left school?
Yeah.
Well, I had a lot of struggling actor jobs. I used to deliver singing telegrams, and I used to sell things by phone. I used to do surveys for the Harris poll.
Can you sell me something by phone?
I would think singing telegrams would be tough.
Can you sell me something by phone?
Can we talk later? Can I sell you something by phone? Well, I sold things like TV Guide and something called the Bull Worker, which was this piece of equipment that was a precursor to all this sort of Nautilus stuff they're selling.
Oh, sure,
now.
exercise.
You know,
equipment, yeah.
It was something that just, and it looked like some toy that, you know,
Yeah.
a broken toy that they said, well, take that and we'll sell it as an exercise thing. And
Have you tried the Bull Worker?
the Bull Worker.
Yeah.
And it's
And
a
it was
manly exercise.
$19.99.
Yes, and then I used to do surveys for the Harris poll, and we used to call like wheat farmers in Iowa and ask them what pesticide they were using. And it was very painful because, you know, you would get this family, you know, they called the Jode family, and you'd hear the voice call out, you know, Daddy, you know, and then 20 minutes later he'd come in and say, yes. I'd say, hi, Mr. Jode, this is Nathan Lane calling for the Harris poll, and we'd just like to ask you a few questions about your pesticide. He said, that's why you brought me in here? I'm coming to New York, and I'm going to kill you. Thank you very much. So, yeah, it was, the only thing I didn't do was wait tables.
And how did the TV
Because
Guide...
if I said, you know, I'll be back in a minute to tell you the specials, would you believe it?
No. How did the TV Guide pitch go?
TV Guide pitch? Oh,
Hi, this is Nathan Lane. Do you subscribe to TV Guide or
Yeah,
something like that?
it was like
Can I
that.
ask
And
you
you
a
had little
question about
cards.
the TV Guide?
You had like a little script that you would flip the cards over if they said, shut up. There was the shut up card. You would go, oh, you don't really mean that. What you really mean, you're probably feeling conflicted. What you really...
Can I ask a question about the TV Guide?
Oh, sure.
How much did it cost then
Oh,
when you were doing this?
when I was a boy? Oh, it's 5 cents, ma'am. I forget now, but...
I think originally TV Guide was 15 cents an issue. Probably
Was it?
subscription was like $5.50 a year or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Karen, I'm glad you called. I hope you have a very happy holiday season.
Well, I hope you both do.
Thank you,
you.
ma'am.
And happy holidays.
Okay, Karen.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
You know, I was listening to a guy on radio today. He's a Jewish guy, Dennis Prager. He's known to this crowd because I have him here from time to time. And he was invited to, he works for the ABC, the Disney broadcast group. He was invited to what they call their holiday party. He said, why don't they just call it a Christmas party? He said, you know, I'm Jewish. Why do we keep calling it? The only reason we have these parties is because it's Christmas.
Right.
Not because it's a holiday. We could have a holiday party, 4th of July.
That's right.
Have you noticed that in your life, that all of a sudden Merry Christmas is gone and Happy Holidays is here?
So it covers everybody?
Right, it's politically correct to say
Oh,
Happy
yeah,
Holidays.
I know. Well, they've taken all the fun out of the holidays anyway. I mean, everything will kill you, you know.
Oh, I know.
You know, mistletoe is deadly.
Right.
You know, holly is poisonous. Eggnog will give you salmonella. You know, and the next thing you'll see on the news, you know, tonight, candy cane, Satan's confection. What's left? It's all gone. They've taken the fun out of it. Of course, I'll go home, you know, for Christmas, and, you know, we have little traditions, like you stand under the mistletoe and kiss the person who traumatized you the most. We'll be bobbing for antidepressants. It's a lot of fun.
I think we see the conflict arising.
Okay, I'm nutty. I'm nutty.
Before you go, you had a tremendous success with on the, has anything, a funny thing happened to you on the way to the forum?
Has anything ever happened to me on the way to the forum?
And you had a great success with Guys and Dolls in New York.
I did.
Tell me about the fun you had with my good friend Doug Henning in Merlin, the magic show that he did. That had to be laugh after laugh for you.
It was. We did Merlin, yes, the magical musical for the entire family. And I just remember that we had you had to sign a magic clause so that you wouldn't, in the contract, where you wouldn't reveal.
Oh, you won't tell how the
tricks were
illusions,
done.
yeah.
And of course, you know, 2 daiquiris and I'd tell you anything. But how are they going to, and how would they be able to tell? It's like the tags on your mattress. Who's going to know? Are the magic police going to break in and say, freeze? Did you tell her there were 2 horses? You have the right to remain invisible.
By the way, are there 2 horses?
There are 2 horses in every trick, let me tell you. But that's another story.
Well,
that's a horse of another color.
I've ever heard.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was an unbelievable show. It was like I remember the one time there was a blizzard during previews, and the animals. There were lots of animals, panthers,
always,
and
huge,
chickens,
huge,
everything.
ferocious animals. Yeah.
And they couldn't make it in because they were all living in New Jersey. The animals. It was too dangerous to live in New York. They were living in Jersey. So Doug Henning came out, and I remember apologized to the audience for the fact that you know, we couldn't do the show that night because the animals were trapped in New Jersey, and he was crying, and I thought, what have I gotten myself into? But that show was in previews longer than any show in Broadway history. When we opened, they thought it was a revival. It was, that's how long it was. And and actually Doug, I think, got out of the business not long after. Didn't he open?
I've not seen his name on a magic act for a long time.
He opened a transcendental theme park.
Is that right?
Yeah, Land. I'm not kidding. That's what he did, I think. And where you sit on a pillow and imagine you're on a roller coaster, I guess. I don't know. A transcendental theme park. So
that show made his whole career disappear, didn't it?
Well, kind of.
Yeah, and you haven't given away the secret of that trick, have you?
I just remember what happened. There was a trick with Cheetah Rivera, who played my mother, you know, because we have such a striking family resemblance.
Yes, exactly.
I played the son of Cheetah Rivera, and she had a trick where she had to turn the young woman, the ingenue in the show, into a from a panther into the ingenue, and there would be, you know, Doug Henning would go like this, and 8 guys would come in with a crane behind this box, and there would be a tunnel where the panther would move. There'd be a guy at the end of the tunnel with horse meat. And then the ingenue would go this way and the panther would go that way. And I said, well, fellas, what happens on a 2-show day when he's sick of horse meat, you know? And then you pull the curtain down, and then he's sitting there with a costume hanging out of his mouth. You're going to start lining up understudies? This is... Anyway, it was quite something.
I remember one night I was working with Harry Blackstone Jr., God rest his soul, and we were on the Tomorrow Show at NBC, and he had the illusion where there's 2 ladies, one in a red bikini and one in a blue bikini. And the red lady goes into the box that's red and the blue into the box that's blue, and somehow, presto changeo, they change places. You never see this happen, and the red lady comes out of the blue box, and the blue lady comes out of the red box, okay? So Harry does the great pitch, et cetera, et cetera. He says, and now, ladies and gentlemen, would you believe we hear, we're not ready yet, we're not ready yet, we're not changed. And I'm thinking, geez, what's going on here? Well, you know, they had to go down tunnels or whatever and come back up, and it just, the illusion didn't work. And then he trapped himself in a safe. You know how they like to do that and make believe they're Houdini and they're going to defy death again. And he was in the safe for like 4 minutes and 30 seconds, and 5 more seconds he's going to die. And all of a sudden the safe opens, and he takes a huge bow, and all I can see is the handle swinging on the inside of the safe that he used to get out. See?
There's nothing worse than when magic doesn't work, because then they're annoyed when they can't figure it out, and they're annoyed when they do.
Exactly right.
They feel cheated.
We will continue here with Nathan Lane. He'll be appearing in Mouse Hunt, which will open in theaters, a lot of theaters, right? Thousands and thousands.
Thousands upon thousands.
All across America, which means that nobody will see Titanic this weekend, as Nathan already did. See, this is the boat, see?
Oh, that was good.
Down she goes, yeah. Anyway, you know why they had all those rowing machines on board the Titanic in the gym?
Why?
For the survivors to practice. We'll be right back after these messages. Oh, stop it. Probably not. Don't try to top it, Tom. Back with Nathan Lane and more stuff after these messages. In the Mouse Hunt beginning this Saturday at theaters all across America. Here's Karen on the toll-free now in Flippin, Arkansas. Hello.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, Karen. We've never had anybody on the air from Flippin tonight, and I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. My question to Nathan is, what was it like playing beside Robin Williams and Gene Hackman in Birdcage?
Oh, it was, an unbelievable thrill. Gene Hackman is maybe one of my favorite actors of all time, and Robin is, he's a one-man Shriners Convention, and he is one of the nicest and kindest people.
And you've got material to work with that you can really, for an actor, get your teeth into this.
Oh, in that movie.
Great story.
Oh, absolutely. A great character and a great story. And Robin, you know, it's very rare to work with a star of that magnitude who is so generous and kind to me, and so I really lucked out. So it was totally a dream come true.
And did you see the picture, Karen?
Yes, I did.
And you liked it?
I was really taken by Nathan's compassion in his face. It comes off, and everybody joins him.
So I didn't look like I had a dark side?
No.
Oh.
No, but the compassion could indicate that you were battling some deep inner conflict.
You're supposed to ask me what culture we have down here.
What culture do you have there? And by the way, I meant to say we've never had anybody on from Flippin, Arkansas before tonight, is what I meant to say.
Flippin, Arkansas?
Flippin, F-L-I-P-P.
Flippin, Arkansas?
Yeah, Flippin.
All right.
It's just a different
It's almost like Bleepin, Arkansas, isn't it? Yeah. What is the culture down there in Flippin, Karen?
It's just a different kind.
Well, that's wide open, isn't it? What do you do? Do you have like a theater down there, a local
what
theater?
What we'll do is go to Springfield, Missouri.
Yeah.
We're on the Missouri
That's where the action
Arkansas line.
Oh, okay.
So we go to Springfield and do have good programs.
Great.
Karen,
so we're looking for Nathan.
Karen, I'm glad you called, and have a happy holiday season, okay?
It's great to talk to both of you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Karen. Merry Christmas, kid.
Merry
Christmas. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
When you were in Forum or any other Broadway play, did anything unusual ever happen in the audience where you had to stop or get distracted?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I remember one play I did called the Lisbon Traviata, where in the middle of the first act, a woman screamed out from the back of the house, "Where's the plot? Where's the plot?" That kind of, you know, brought everything to a halt.
Yeah,
and
we get your attention.
fortunately, you know, the audience sort of hushed her. They were on our side. You know, it wasn't like they all sort of said, "Yeah, that's right, more character development." They started coming towards the stage with torches. Fortunately, they liked us. But I remember during Forum once, I heard there was a phone ringing. You know, everyone has phones now.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm talking, and I stopped. And you could hear this phone very clearly. And I said, "Did someone invent the phone while I was working here?" And I looked out, and this guy was talking, you know. And I went out into the audience, and I took the phone, and I said, "He can't talk now. He's watching a Broadway show." And I took it away from him, and put it in my pocket, and I gave it back to him later. But yeah, you never know what's gonna happen, you know. And people also now with those hearing devices.
Oh, sure.
You know, they'll narrate the entire show for you. I saw The Heiress, you know, that great play, you know, the Washington Square, and there was a guy narrating through the whole thing for me, you know, saying, "Oh, that must be the heiress. Here she comes. When does she get the money? She's the heiress, isn't she? Yeah. Whoa, that's a big dress." And then at the very end, the guy comes back and knocks on the door to get back in the house, and he said, "He's got a gun."
And I got to go.
Okay.
But I thank you for joining us tonight. I wish you a Merry Christmas, sir, and I hope your picture of the Mouse Hunt does great things for you and for
Thanks for having
SKG as well. My pleasure. Good luck, my friend.
Thank you.
Nathan Lane has been here for our show tonight. We applaud him for that. We'll be right back after these messages. Mothers-in-Law, back tomorrow night, same time.